Welcome to class. Today is our short restorative sequence. This one is perfect to do at the end of a long day. So if you're out backpacking, it's something you could really do in the tent, or if it's not buggy or raining outside, lay out a tarp and do a few of these poses out there. It's also a really wonderful sequence in the morning when you're trying to wake your body up before you're headed out for a long day out in the trail. Let's get started. Let's get started in child's pose. So come over to your knees. Take your knees as wide as the edges of your mat, big toes together, and walk your arms forward and bring your forehead down to the mat. Relax your shoulders and let the weight of your low back and your hips settle you down deeper over your heels. Come into your Ujjayi breath. Child's pose is a really nice internal pose to relax your body and get you connected down to the earth. So actually notice the texture of your mat right underneath your hands and your forehead. Feel what it's like to engage your belly and breathe deeper into your back ribs. Deepening into your breath. On your next inhale, move up to your hands and your knees for cat-cow. So stack your hands right underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. And on your inhale, lift your chest forward, pull your belly button up and in. And exhale, round your spine. So even when we're doing restorative work, inhale, lift. And exhale, round your spine. You still want to get some heat, build some heat in your body. Cat-cow is a great way to open up into your spine. Let's take one more round. Inhale, lift through your chest. And exhale, round your spine. Good. Come back to neutral. Keep your belly lifted up and in. Walk your hands forward about 6 inches. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Flatten your palms deep into the floor. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then down and away until you feel your arm bones actually hug right up into shoulder sockets. Lift your tailbone towards the ceiling, create some length in your spine, and press your heels down towards the floor. Right, starting to soften down your toes. You can actually lift your toes off the floor and squeeze your thigh muscles. Relax your head. Look right between your big toes. Stay deep in your breath. And we're just working into a lot of space and length in your spine, feeling your hamstrings activate, and getting nice and fired up in your core and into your breath. And you can take a few steps forward, come to the top of your mat. Ragdoll, feet are hip width distance. Bend your knees, hold onto your elbows. And here, if you're tighter in your hamstrings, you might find your chest is kind of far from your thighs. Bend your knees a lot. So you can actually bring the bottom of your belly down to your thighs and then relax your upper body. Right, your hamstrings work pretty naturally into opening right here. You don't have to do a whole lot. Squeeze your quad muscles so you can relax a little bit more. Good. And then bring your feet together. And we'll take one breath. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, fold your chest back down to your toes. So step your left foot to the back of your mat for a low lunge. So you bring your back knee down to the floor. Bring your hands towards your front thigh. So in any kind of work that we're working into an opening and a deeper stretch in your left hip, you still want to squeeze into center. So pull your right heel towards your left knee. Feel the action into center, which will lift you out of the stretch. And then from the integrated space of bones pulling in, then you shift your weight forward. So if you're feeling a little bit lower quiet, you can leave your hands on your thigh. Or if you're like, oh, I want a little more energy, reach your arms up towards the ceiling and relax your shoulders down your back. Breathe deeply. And another nice option, take your hands to your low back, interlace, and roll your chest open, especially if you're doing this after a long day of hiking and you can feel your chest really needs some space. Good. And now bring your hands in front of your chest and take your left hand inside your right foot. Reach your right arm towards the ceiling for a twist. Pull your belly button up and in. And then notice the tendency, sometimes our knee wants to come out here. Keep your right foot grounded. Lift long through your chest and stretch through your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands down to your mat and come back to your hands and your knees for a modified side plank. So bring your left knee right underneath your hip, straighten your right leg and roll onto your right heel and lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. So lift your chest long and reach up through your right fingertips. You can squeeze your belly and then squeeze your leg on your upper leg and lengthen long through your chest forward. And bring your hands down to the mat and then come back into downward facing dog. And then we'll come into our low lunge on this side, stepping from our downward dog. Step your left foot forward to the top of your mat and lower your right knee to the mat. Bring your hands to your front thigh, square your hips. So pull your left your left foot and your right knee in towards each other, belly lifted in, and then shift your weight forward towards your front foot. Again, your option. You could reach your arms up towards the ceiling if you feel like you need a little added energy. In the morning, this would be really nice. Or if you're like, oh man, I've been carrying 40 pounds all day, roll your chest open, interlace your hands, and really get open through your chest up towards the sky. Belly anchored up and in. We'll take the twist. So take your right hand down to the floor inside. Reach your left fingers up towards the ceiling. I know I'm facing away from you, so keep your front foot grounded. Lift your chest forward and squeeze your shoulder blades towards your back. Feel full extension through your arms. And then twisting really from your belly and from your torso. And then bring your hands down to the mat. Come back to hands and knees, and I'm going to switch around so you can see this for your side plank. So right hand is under your shoulder, right knee is under your hip, and straighten your back leg. So your left heel comes down and extend your left fingertips up towards the sky. Pull your belly button up and in and lengthen long through your chest. Reach through your fingers up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. And then bring your hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. Good. We'll come back into the low lunge. I'm going to turn around again. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot to your right hand. Lower your back knee down. And we'll come into lizard. So turn your right toes all the way to the right edge of your mat. They could even come off the mat. Flex your toes and roll to the outer edge of your right foot. You're like, oh, what has she got me into here? Really start to roll gently to the outer edge of your foot till you feel a big stretch into your right hip. You could bring your elbows down inside your heels if you're feeling that open. If you're like, that doesn't happen in my body, that's cool. Stay on your hands. Deep breaths here. We're still squeezing your thigh bones into center, so we're integrated even as we're getting deeper into our stretch. And if you thought lizard was awesome, just wait till this next thing. Bend your left knee. Take your right hand to the outer edge of your left foot. And right here, you're getting a really big stretch into your hip flexors and quad. Move very mindfully here. This is a very big stretch. Roll your chest open. Pull your belly in. If you've been hiking or backpacking today, this one is a good one for releasing your tight quads that have been carrying so much weight on the trail. Stay with your breath. Good. And then bring your hand back to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. And we'll switch to the other side. Step your left foot to your left hand. Lower your right knee. Work your left toes to about a 45-degree angle to the left edge of your mat. Flex your toes, roll to the outer edge of your left foot for lizard. You can bring your elbows down. You want them roughly in line with your heel. Or again, if your hips aren't really fond of that, come back to your hands and breathe deeply, and then shift your weight a little bit more forward to get deeper into big stretch in your left outer hip. Stay with your breath. And then bend your back leg. Oh, I get to add on. Take the outer edge of your foot with your left hand. You could stay on your right hand. Those of you who are more open could come down towards your elbow. My body is not into that, so I stay on my hand. Roll your chest open towards your left knee. Breathing really deep, getting deep into hip flexor and quad stretch here. full Ujjayi breath. If you can, roll your chest open towards the ceiling and look up. Good, and then come back over to your hands, downward facing dog. Press your heels down towards the floor. All right, and then we'll move on to our knees. Come over to a seat and then extend your legs straight in front of you for our final seated forward fold. So you can move flesh away from your sits bones, squeeze your thigh muscles, and then reach for your feet. Those of you who are super tight in your hamstrings, you work with knees bent, reaching for your feet, belly on your thighs, and then you just would slowly inch your legs forward until you're getting straighter. I wouldn't worry too much about, getting so open to my hamstrings. This pose is as much about hamstring opening as it is about lengthening in your spine. So lengthen through your chest and then work them both at the same degree. Big full breaths. Good. And slowly come up on this side. And take your fingertips right underneath you for a fish pose. Bring your elbows down to the floor underneath your ribs. Stretch through your feet. Puff your chest to the ceiling and lower the top of your head to the floor behind you, getting one last opening through your chest. You could stick your tongue out here. And softly come down to your back for final rest. So you'll open your arms up, your palms up to the ceiling. Relax your legs, relax your shoulders. Let go of your Ujjayi breath here. So even in our shorter practices, still taking Shavasana, giving your body a moment to integrate in from all the work you did, the opening you've done. If you've had a big day, letting your body soften and relax after the intensity of many miles on the trail. And then when you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Pull your knees into your chest and roll over onto one side. And then press yourself all the way up to a seat. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. And thank you so much for being with us today. Namaste.